Hello friends, myself Amar. Now in this video I will talk about pure component in React.js. But before diving to the concept of pure component, let me show you a program regarding the regular component. Okay. Here inside the custom components folder I have created a file named as impurecom.js. Okay. Now this impurecom.js is nothing but a class component. Inside this class component, what I have done, inside the constructor I have created a state. Inside the state I have created a property counter having the value as 0. Then I have called the setInterval method, and what it will do, at an interval of 2 seconds it will change the value of counter to 0 again. This means ultimately there is no change in the counter value. And in the render method I have printed a console.log, and inside the div tag I have written for impure component, and after that inside the h2 tag I am printing the value of counter. Okay, and I am using this impure comp inside the root component, that is app.js. Right now, up to this, if I save this, then you will be able to see that for impure component message is displayed and the value of counter is 0. And see here, at an interval of 2 seconds this message is printed, impure component is rendered. But notice one thing here, is there any change in the UI? Is there any change in the value of the counter variable? No, but still the component is re-rendered, and this will impact the performance of our application. And here the pure component comes into picture. Okay, so in case of regular component, even if there is no change in the UI, there is no change in the state, the impure component or the regular component is re-rendered. Okay, and to solve this, the concept of pure component is there in React.js. Okay, now what is pure component? In a regular component, shouldComponentUpdate always returns true, and so a regular component is always re-rendered. Okay, in pure component, React overrides the shouldComponentUpdate method and does the shallow comparison of the current state and prop with the new props and state to decide whether to re-render the component or not. This means in case of pure component, it will do a shallow comparison of the current state and prop with the new prop and state, and if there is any difference between the current state and prop with the new state and prop, then only the component will be re-rendered, otherwise not, and hence this will boost the application performance. Okay, now what is shallow comparison? In case of primitive data types like string, number and boolean, if we do a shallow comparison, then it will return true if the primitive values have the same type and same value. As you can see here, for example, RipplesCode shallow comparison RipplesCode, this will return true because it is of the same type, that is string, and it has the same value, that is RipplesCode. Okay, and in case of object, or in case of complex data type like array or object, the shallow comparison will return true if the references refer to the same object, otherwise it will return false. For example, here I have created an array 1 having the value as ABC, array 2 having the value as ABC, and array 3 which is pointing to array 1. Now if I do a shallow comparison of ARR1 and ARR2, it will return false because these references pointing to two different objects. Okay, but if I do a shallow comparison of array 1 and array 3, it will return true because it is pointing to the same object. Okay, this is all about the pure component and the shallow comparison. Now let me show you programmatically. Now here what I have done, inside the custom component folder I have created the pure component. Now this pure component is extending the react.pure component. As you can see, in regular component we extend the component class, but to create the pure component we need to extend the pure component class. And here I have written the same code which I have written in case of impure component. The same code I have written in the pure component as well. Okay, now what I will do, this is the code for the pure component. Now what I will do, in the root component, instead of this impure component, I will use pure component. Okay, now let me save this. Now if I go to the browser, then you can see for pure component 0, and in the console you can see it has been rendered only once. Now since the state value is not changing. Actually in pure component it is comparing the previous state with the new state, and since the state value is not changing, the pure component is not re-rendered and it will boost the application performance. Okay, this is how we can use the pure component with the primitive data type, right? Now if we want to use the pure component with the complex data type, then how we can do? For that I have written the code pure complex. It is also a pure component. Here I have created a state, and you can see it has person array Tom, Harry and Max, and at an interval of 1 second what I am doing, I am changing the state. This means here I am creating a new array, and inside the new array I am adding a new value. Okay, and in the render method what I am doing, I am just printing the length of the array. Okay, now what I will do, inside the app.js I will use here pure complex. Okay, now let me save this. Now if I go to the browser, then you can see initially the length is 3, and then after an interval of 1 second the length is changing. Okay, this is how we can use pure component with the complex data type, right? Now notice here one thing, that here I am returning a new array. Okay, I am not modifying the existing array, I am creating a new array here. Remember this point. Okay, if you are modifying the array, then while the pure component while re-rendering will do a shallow comparison, and if it finds that the object or the reference is pointing to the same object, then it will not re-render. Okay, so this is how we can use pure component in React.js. I hope you have liked my video. If you have liked my video, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.